before I go to solve this homework question, let me go over how do we find the inverse of the graph. So I'm gonna make another layer. For example, we have a graph like this. A graph like that. Good. I'm going to call this one h of x. My question is this one-to-one? Yes. How do we know it's one-to-one? We just need to make a horizontal line. If our horizontal line cross at only one point, that means this is one-to-one. What one-to-one means, that means if we find the inverse of that, that's a function as well. But now how do we find, so how do we graph h inverse of x? Anybody knows here? How do we graph h inverse? Jake?
Sorry, what's up?
How do we graph the inverse of this function?
Rotate it 90 degrees.
Rotated 90 degrees. Good try, Jake. But if I give you guys a set of points, for example, if this point was 0, 2, what is the inverse of that?
Oh, I see, 2, 2, 0.
Very good. So we are expert on finding points, but it's difficult to find all the point there and then graph it and then connect them. So the point is, if any point here we have x and y, the inverse is going to be y and x. I agree. So in order to graph it, we make a line x equal to y, has to be 45. Correct. So we make this line. This is y equal to x. Now we reflect it to this graph. That means we reflect it means we're going to connect it to this and continue. Connect it and continue. So what's going to happen? We're going to get similar shape, but like, wow, should be like that. So this is the inverse. So this is h inverse. Good. Then you can erase this one because we don't need to see that. So the orange is h inverse. So we learned two techniques. For if I give you guys a set of points, you switch x and y. If I give you guys a graph, you reflect it to y equal to x line. So are we okay? This. So now go back to this question. Evade question. What? Where is she?
I have my camera off.
But that's okay. I just want to know how to pronounce your name, Yvette. So for the set of points, we know how to do it. If I give you guys any graph, for example, like this, if you want to find the inverse of this, you make a line and you mirror it to that one. This will be the inverse. The challenge, so this is okay. Like there's no algebra, you can do it. But what about if I give you guys, equation like this? So here is a little spicy one. In order to do this, we have to go through a few steps. Step one, I'm going to change this g of x to y. I just want to call it y equal to x plus 3 over x plus 5. So step 1, we didn't do any algebra. I'm just, instead of g of x, I put y, which we know the y-axis is same as f of x, g of x, h of x. So for both graphing, for the graph and the point, we switch x and y, correct? So here we're going to switch x and y as well. What does it mean? That means instead of this x and that x, I'm going to substitute y, and instead of y, I'm going to put x. So what's going to happen? We're going to get x equal to y plus 3, y plus 5. This is step 2. All right, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
I'm using too many steps when you said that. Step 3. This is it. So step 1 was no problem. Step 2 was just switching x and y. Step 3 is a little challenging. We need to solve for y. So now is algebra. How do we solve for y?
Just input 0.
No. Why should we put 0, Isabel? We're going to solve for y.
For x's.
So when I said solve for any variable, here we said y. That means y should be one side, everything else should be other side. Agree? That means of solving. Adding a 0, you're doing totally different thing. If I ask you guys what is a y-intercept, then you're going to put 0 for x-intercept, solve. So we don't want to mix it up, correct? Solve for y, solve for a variable. Then we're going to have that variable, one side, everything, other side. So how do we solve this? Unfortunately, we have two y's, correct? We have y's here, also we have y there. The first thing is, I know none of you guys like fractions. We're going to get rid of the fraction. I'm going to multiply both sides by y plus 5. So I will get y plus 5 multiplied by x equal to y plus 3. Usually when I write 2y, I write it in two different fonts. I don't know why. So we're gonna solve for y. Y should be one side. I'm gonna FOIL this. Go xy plus 5x equal to y plus 3. Minus y. I'm gonna get xy minus y equal to 3 minus 5x. I remove 5x over there. So now we have y one side. So what I'm doing, this is algebra. How do I solve for y? I need to factor the y. If I factor y, I'm gonna get x minus 1 equal to 3 minus 5x. Then I divide it by x minus 1, I have y. So y will be 3 minus 5x over x minus 1. So we solve for y. I know none of you guys like that. Not because it's difficult, because it's Monday probably. I make a few more examples, okay? Don't freak out. If it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So you picked the difficult question for me. but I was able to solve it. But there's one more step left. Step 4. Who knows what is a step 4? Jason, do you want to say something?
Now, should we try to find one of the intercepts to get a point?
Why do you want to find intercept? They said, what is the inverse? They said, what is the inverse, right? What did we got? We solved for y. The last step is to erase y, just put g inverse. So you don't want to give me y. Y was a cheating way to get g of x. When you solve it, you need to replace it to the g inverse. So this is the final answer. Any question here? Let's have one more. So this was a topic that I was planning to start the day with this. And then after that, we're going to go to chapter 1. Let me have one more example. H of x equal to 5x plus minus 12. Find h inverse of x. A little bit note here. We see h inverse of x, correct? This negative is not in exponent rule. We learn like a to power of -1 equal to 1 over a, correct? We make a reciprocal. This is not that one. So do not make this one to 1 over h of x. Don't just make a reciprocal of this and then you're done. No. You know this is -1, talking about the inverse. Also, for question like this, they give you little information. They are saying is 1-to-1. 1-to-1 means nobody's going to sue you if you find the inverse of that. And you're going to use the inverse. So can you guys find the inverse of this and tell me what is the h inverse? So another question, I give you two functions like let's pick a difficult one. F of x equal to x plus 3 over x minus 2. And g of x equal to 2x plus 3 over x minus 1. So the question is, they say verify that f and g are inverse each other. That means f inverse of x equal to g of x and g inverse of x equal to f of x. So it's so much work. I mean, if you want to, for example, let's do this one. You need to find inverse of f of x and compare it if equal to this. They're saying verify that they are inverse each other. So we don't want to do, so there's a shortcut, but before we do the shortcut, let's find the inverse of this. Because you see two x's here. That means at one point we need to factor it to solve for y. So I'm going to say y equal to x plus 3 over x minus 2. Then I'm going to say x equal to y plus 3 over y minus 2. That's a step 1. That's a step 2. Step 3, that's a complicated one. We're going to solve. So we're going to cross multiply. We have x, y minus 2 equal to y plus 3. xy minus 2x equal to y plus 3 minus y minus y. I'm going to get xy minus y equal to 3 plus 2x. I add 2x to the both sides. This is going to go over here. Now I factor the y, x minus 1 equal to 3 plus 2x. Then I divide it by x minus 1. So y equal to 3 plus 2x over x minus 1. So at the end, we said we cross this one out. We're going to call it f inverse of x. So now is this same as this one? Is that correct? Yes, correct. I mean, we have 2x plus 3 here is 3 plus 2x. It's fine. So the f of x, inverse of f of x equal to g of x. Now we have to do this one to get to that one. It's a lot of work. The cheating way is, if you have a question like this, and they ask you verify that these two are inverse each other, we need to do f of g of x. If the answer, when you're composing this, if the answer is x, that means it's done. So in order two functions are inverse each other, if f g of x equal to g of f of x equal to x. Is that too much?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have this in your note sheet. If there's a question, they ask you guys, verify that these two are inverse each other. We do this. But how do we do that? Let's see how difficult is that. Composing this one, we know it already. You have note in your note sheet. F of x is here, g of x is there. So f of 2x plus 3 over x minus 1 equal to are you guys agree with me? Elizabeth, does that make sense?
I'm still trying to write it down.
Okay. So composing, that means f, here we have x. This was x, correct? We have x here, x there. Now we have g of x. I have to put g of x here and g of x there. So that's what I did. This is a value of g of x. That's the value of g of x. I know looks is complicated. I know, right? But your job is to don't freak out, do it step by step. You don't need to go all the way at the end, so this is very complicated. So now I'm gonna simplify this one. You can bring it somewhere else. Let's bring it here. So my point is, you know it. You know basic algebra and you know definition of f of g. So your job is to don't freak out and do it step by step. So now I'm going to simplify this. We have 2x plus 3 over x minus 1 plus 3. I'm going to add 1 as a denominator. Find the common denominator will be x minus 1. Okay. We get 2x plus 3 plus 3 multiplied by x minus 1. I multiply by x minus 1 top and bottom. Equal to 2x plus 3 plus 3x minus 3 divided by x minus 1. 2x plus 3x is 5x. Negative 3 and 3 will go over x minus 1. So we got this. So this is going to go right there. This for this one. Now let's do the same thing for this. I'm going to write it here. Two x plus 3 divided by x minus 1 minus 2 equal to, finding common denominator, we're going to have 2x plus 3 minus 2 times x minus 1 divided by x minus 1. I'm going to multiply this in 2x plus 3 minus 2x plus 2 divided by x minus 1. 2x and 2x will go. 3 plus 2 is 5 over x minus 1. So I put 5 over x minus 1. So we got something beautiful. Now let's simplify that. How do we simplify two fractions? Jake, do you have any idea? Mario, your camera is going to the ceiling. Okay, your head is enough. Elizabeth, you should know this. You asked me a question like this.
Just multiply x minus 1 and 5. So multiply the bottom denominator times the top numerator.
But there's a cheating way. If we have a over b divided by c over d, this will be, you multiply these two far away, going on the top, it's going to be ad, and multiply these denominators, going to be bc. So we can do this. If you don't know this shortcut, you can do actually dividing. A over dividing means we have A over B divided by C over D. Good. How do we divide two fractions? We said we save the first one, we change it to multiplication and make it reciprocal. What we get, AD over BC. So we get same thing. So I'm going to do the same thing. I multiply this too far away. What's going to happen? We're going to have one fraction, 5 over x minus 1, and the top 5x times x minus 1. Now, that's a fun part. X minus 1 cancel. This 5 and that 5 cancel. You left by your x. So the definition was when we got x, that means they are inverse each other. But we did so much work. We did so much algebra, but your job is to know this one. Any question here? All right. Let's start the real work. Start the business. All right, we're gonna start trigonometry. So how do we start? The first thing we're gonna do, or you're gonna learn how do we read an angle or review if you already know. So let's say, looks, all right, so we are dealing with the circle. We have, this circle is same as the first question that Karen asked us. The equation is x squared plus y squared equal to, not 16, I'm gonna call it r squared. That means that this is r. This radius is r. Good. And if r is 1, which most of the time we were dealing with r equal to 1, then they call it unit circle. Unit circle has r equal to 1 and h and k are 0, 0. We read the angle on the circle this direction. If we go counterclockwise, will be plus. When we go the other way, clockwise, will be negative direction. So this goes plus, right? And when r is here, so this r has this line here, make some angle with the x-axis. Agree? I'm gonna call it alpha. So you will see alpha, theta, beta, gamma. So there are some names like this. You don't need to freak out. That's the name. You can call it ABC, but you can, but most in the homework you will see alpha and theta. So one question for you guys. Can you guys tell me alpha is A 120 degree, B 50 degree, C negative 40 degrees, D 185 degrees. Which one do you pick as a best answer for this?
B.
B. Very good, but yeah, the answer is B. Not exactly 50, but better than 120 or negative 40 or 185. So negative 40 is out because this direction goes negative. So alpha is in the positive direction. And how do we know it's 50, not 120? We know this is one revolution, correct? One revolution or 360 degree. So if R, when we start R here, then R gets bigger, 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 bigger. If it goes back to this point again, it will be 360 degree. So from 0 all the way, one revolution will be 360 degrees. And this is a degrees, unit of, we make a little circle. Any questions so far? No question. So if from here to there get 360 degree, if we divide it by 4, what degree is here? So I'm going to say 0 and 360 degree. You know 0 is here, correct? 360, we got one revolution. What point, how big is this one? 90, right? 90 degrees. How big is this one? I mean, orange.
180.
What's that?
180.
Excellent, 180. So from here to there, the orange one, give us 180 degree. What about all the way? You see that I start from 0. I don't just make another one there. No, we read the measure from beginning all the way here. How big is the blue one? What degree is this?
270.
270, yeah. And then we go to 360. So 360 divided by 4, we get 90, 90, 90, 90, right? Each one is 90. This is 90. This is 90, but 90 plus 90 is 180, right? So also, so we divide it by 4. We call this one quadrant 1. This is quadrant 2. This is quadrant 3. And this guy is quadrant 4. One quiz for you guys. Theta equal to 225 degree. Is this A, B, C, D? Is this in quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, or quadrant 4?
C.
3.
Quadrant 3 or C, very good. So C is correct. Let's have a little spicy question. Alpha equal to negative 225 degree is at A, B, C, or D? Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4?
C.
Again, C?
Yeah.
No, right?
B.
I
So
think it's B. Yeah.
we are battling between C and B. Let's investigate on this one. Let's pick what color. Our difficulty is what color should I pick? Let's see, blue. This. So this is so we know alpha is negative 225. Good. You see negative, so we're gonna go this direction. If we go this direction, this will be negative 90 degrees. This is negative 180, negative 270, and negative 360 degrees. So the negative direction tells us to go, for example, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. You go to negative 225, should be somewhere around here, correct? Between negative 180 and negative 270. So it would be quadrant 2. Correct, Noor?
Yeah, that's true.
Very good. Very good. Let's have another one. Another one will be beta equal to 420 degree. Is that A? Is that, well, I don't want to say A. Is that quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4, or doesn't exist? No 420.
That's quadrant A.
Quadrant?
1. Sorry. Quadrant 1.
Quadrant 1. Well, if you write your book, you can say quadrant 1. So should we say there's no 420 or there is 420?
There is.
Very good, there is. So don't just sell it. There is, because we can have a degree of millions or 2 millions, but we have to go 360, correct? Then to go to 420, how much should I add? 60 more, correct? 60 more going to be approximately here. So it will be in quadrant 1. So you're right. Quadrant 1 is correct.
Right, Professor. I had a like a trick, let's say, that you take the angle that they have given you, and then you subtract 360 from it until you get something that's less than 360.
Very good. Yeah, that's correct. There's so many different ways we can get it, but if the angle is more than 360, in your mind, you should say, oh, we're going to have one loop. For example, if I say, what is 950 degrees? Good. Where is this? We're going to have one 360 left plus another 360. That means 360 gives me 720 degrees. So another 360 going to pass 950, right? So 950 minus 720, it gives us 230. So 230 is the answer. Correct. We have two types of units for measuring the angle. One of them that you guys are expert is degrees. That's how, it's like a sun. That's the degrees, correct? Another one is radiant. So another one is radian. So this is 0, 90. You will see me in this course. Every day, every lecture time, I make a circle, 0, 90 degrees, 180 degrees. You will get sick of this. I mean, this is what's going to happen for the rest of the course. 270 degrees and 360 degrees. So what is radiance? Radiance happens, this is R, correct? This theta is 1 radians if the measure of this, a measure of that to be 1. I'm going to call this one S. If theta is 1 radian when S equal to 1. So the arc is 1, then theta equal to 1 radian. How do we find the circumference of the circle? Oops. What's the formula for area and circumference? Area was pi r squared. Circumference was 2 pi r, correct? So this pi is, which is 3.14, good. We don't want to worry about the area. Area is out. What is circumference of this circle if r equal to 1? Check, what is the area? What is the circumference?
2 pi.
2 pi. That means from here all the way to here will be 2 pi. What's the units? Whatever the measure. I mean, if you cut it and make a line, and if you put the ruler here, if you measure this one, going to be 2 pi. That's the meaning of circumference. So 360 degrees equal to 2 pi in radians. Because this much was 1 radian, approximately, then 2 radians, 3 radians. If you make a radian, you're going to get 2 pi. So again, 2 pi in radian equal to 360 degrees. What radian is 180 degrees? If everything is 2 pi, if you half it, you will get pi. Good. What about 90 degrees? It will be pi half. And 270 will be 3 pi half. I think is enough for today. So what we learned today, we learned that, okay, I'm gonna write again. We read this circle with this direction is plus, the other one is negative. We're gonna have different angle here, correct? This is angle, make it bigger. Those are angle. If the R is there, we have another one here. The maximum in the circle we get is minimum is 0. Then we will get to 360 degrees. This will be 90 degrees. That's 180 degrees. That's 270 degrees and 360. Then we learn about the radians. 0 radians and 0 degree are same. well, you just need 90 degrees pi half, 180 is pi, 270 is 3 pi half, and 360 is 2 pi. This is,
Professor,
yes.
are we gonna have to memorize like all the different? I forget what it's called. Like I was thinking it was like circle calendar, but it has like a name. You know, when you have to like memorize each section of a square.
Unit circle, yeah.
Unit
But,
circle. Yeah, are we gonna have to memorize that?
You have a note, open notes, so you take
Okay.